Comics fans! Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Wednesday Warrior, sponsored by Power Card Games and Comics here in Port Ewan, New York. My name is Skylar Hathaway.
I'm Chris Potter.
Dude, we've done this so many times that I didn't even that just came out.
Yeah.
It just came out. I don't even know what I just said.
You said the intro.
A bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I can do it again right now. What? No, all right.
Yeah.
We only have 30 minutes for this episode. All right, what do we got today, Chris?
For actual books, we got Batman 140?
Von Diggity.
140. And we got Transformers 3.
140. We're going to hold these up in a moment again.
Boom.
So, yes, true. Honorable mentions. Chris, what you got?
I got Batman and Robin. This is here because I love Simone DeMeo.
We love Simone.
Yes, but especially I love Simone DeMeo enough to keep picking up this book. I don't know if Skylar is still picking this up.
I love Simone DeMeo enough to pick up that book as well. Here's the thing.
Right.
He's not on that book after this issue.
So you're done.
Guess what? I don't have to do anymore.
I like Williamson enough. I'm going to see if he finds his voice for this book eventually. I think he found it in Robin, so
For sure.
I'm holding out for a little bit.
For sure. Have you read that issue?
No.
So we have Transformers number 3.
Yes. We're starting with that?
We should have. It's the better book.
Okay.
And we have Batman 140, which we are starting with.
Okay.
My honorable mention would have been Moon Knight 29.
Which was a last week book, but it was very solid.
It's far better than this fucking piece of crap.
Yeah.
It's just, there was no depth. It was like, here's the story, here's what we're doing, we're progressing the story. Issue 30 is going to be the end of our run.
I feel like we had a decent lineup last week. A lot of our issues were, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, there's like the 20, my notes, my biggest note was in 29, there was a lot of things in motion. All the characters had something to do.
No.
Everybody was busy. Everybody had their own, motivations.
Right.
Everybody, up to the villains who came back, up to the side villains, everything was such a working clock with all of the gears turning that there was nothing to be said that you couldn't get from just reading this issue.
Yeah.
So if you like Moon Knight, go pick up issue Moon Knight number 29.
We've talked about enough better, more choppable Moon Knight issues. You should be reading it already.
If you're not a Moon Knight guy, you're not going to enjoy the book because it's Moon Knight. It's deep in Moon Knight. There's nothing else.
McKay is one of those guys who has read a lot of comics, and you don't need to have read a lot of Moon Knight, but you can kind of see where he's flexing on you, being like, I know a lot about Moon Knight, let me show you some shit.
Yeah.
He's one of those writers.
That brings us to Batman.
Yep. So I'm here. This is the covers. I have to open mine.
You took yours out.
Yep.
We both got holiday covers.
Are they both Dan Morrow? That doesn't look that much like Dan Morrow.
And that's why I didn't pull this for you. I like this cover more than the one you got, but when I pulled these, it didn't have this on it.
Okay.
It was just a big image of this.
Which is
so
nice.
I was like, oh, sweet. And then they came to like half the cover.
You're supposed to cut it off, apparently. There's like a
You
little
can,
scissor.
yeah, and the regular cover is actually right here.
Which I do appreciate. They do this for blanks at DC, too.
Yeah,
I think
so
it's nice.
so this kind of panned out, and I really like this cover. I'm real weak to Santa Claus.
Not to discredit this cover. I think it's pretty cool, too.
No, yeah.
Great, iconic Batman Joker falling in the rain.
Yeah, good stuff. Jorge Jimenez. So, I'm going to summarize this issue real quick. Batman in the last issue confronted the Joker. Joker pulled Zur-En-Arrh out of Batman. Issue ended. This issue begins. Zur-En-Arrh's fighting Joker.
Yep.
Batman, Bruce Wayne, is stuck in his own mind. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know why he's stuck in his own mind. He's been trapped basically in the place that Zur-En-Arrh was trapped in.
Right.
Come to find out, in the process of... and here's where Zdarsky's writing starts to go, I don't know, guy.
Yeah.
In the process of going across the multiverse in the past couple, 5, 6, 7, 10 issues,
Yep.
he culminated and cultivated a group of Zur-En-Arrh personalities inside of his own brain. Okay.
Yeah.
So he now needs to fight them. Okay. Joker is fighting Zur-En-Arrh, actual real time. Fake time, brain time. Batman's trying to figure out how to fight a million Zur-En-Arrhs. We got a bunch of cool art, bunch of Jorge Jimenez like showing off, going crazy, doing his thing, drawing Frank Miller poses, drawing Adam West, doing all the cool shit.
Yeah.
All in red and yellow Zur-En-Arrh outfits. And Joker's getting his ass handed to him, like really beat to a pulp. So Batman's getting tired of watching this go down, fighting those Zernars. He pulls out his mind palace. It's like a labyrinth. All the Zernars are confused. They can't make it through. Also hard for me to swallow. They're Batman. Why wouldn't they have the same mind palace? Anyway, Bruce defeats the Zernars? Question mark. And wakes up in his own body. The Joker is gone. He's in the brownstone in Gotham. There is Zernar talking to him. Not unusual. Outside of his brain.
Yeah.
What the hell? Gets up, finds out that he's reactivated
Failsafe,
and installed his consciousness into it.
Yes. Or maybe it was already there and he had to activate it because Zernar is the one who made Failsafe. I think that's more swallowable, so I'm okay with that.
At some point, it like got a human consciousness.
Yeah.
Either prior, after, during, wherever, it doesn't matter. Does that
Truly.
about summarize the whole issue?
That's what happened.
Alright, I'll summarize the Vandal Savage part. He's stuck in Gotham because his powers, his immortalness, is stuck to the stone that's landed in Gotham.
This was all
100
Gotham
billion
BS.
years ago.
Yeah.
Nah, I disagree. I think it's more relative to Detective Comics and what they were doing before the book. Because of that stone that was in Arzen's grandmother.
Okay.
And like she's functioning with the stone in her brain. Similar, Vandal Savage can't function without the stone being around him.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, so this is the culmination. Vandal Savage is now a Gotham-based villain, and he's trying to basically become the kingpin of Gotham. Is what we're
From
getting.
Wayne Manor.
Is
which
what-
is like
He bought Wayne Manor back in Detective Comics.
Yeah.
Which is culminated now, which is kind of cool. We're not sure where that's going. That being said, it's written by Zdarsky.
So it's still solid.
It's drawn by somebody good. I
It
don't
was
remember
Mike
who it
Hawthorne,
was.
I believe.
Mike Hawthorne's doing, and I'm glad to hear that. He's still
Yeah.
getting work. That's what's up. Inked by not D. Benedetto.
No, it was someone
Inked by somebody
I think it was
else.
someone more notable.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And it looks better, honestly. Unfortunately, to Adrian Di Benedetto's credit.
Yeah. I've seen D. Benedetto do his own work too. So
Yeah. Benedetto's definitely capable, but Mike
Never
Hawthorne's.
mind. I think he's inking himself in
He's
this
probably
story.
inking himself.
Yeah.
So those are our two stories. Vandal Savage is going to become the Kingpin. Batman's losing his mind, has to fight down Zernar. Okay. This made it to the show, in my opinion, because it's a very classic Batman Joker story. It's not too blown out of proportion, the Batman Joker portion.
Right.
And it's better than the past, 3 issues of Batman that we've had, because those were literal garbage.
Ooh.
I
I really liked 139.
no offense to... Oh, I didn't mean that one.
Okay.
I meant the other 3
Yes.
issues in between 135 and 130.
We're still made on the show, so they had some redeeming qualities.
You know what it was? Is, like I described pretty often, heel wrestler qualities. They were pissing us off, and so we had to talk about it.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's not pissing Chris off. It's pissing me off, and so I have to talk
There
about
are things you're bringing up that are reminding me, why are we doing this multiversal Zernar thing? It doesn't seem to be going anywhere, and they're also
This
taking it really literally in a way I don't appreciate. Because,
Yeah.
I at first was like, okay, it's more of an image of something. Batman has gone through the multiverse. Here's Zernar using that against him, but it's not literal. It's not like the Zernars of other realities. No, it's very literal.
It's very literal.
Batman moving through the multiverse gained mental parasites that are these backup personalities. How does that work? How does Zernar even work? But that's kind of more understandable because it's Batman. He has this second mental persona.
Yeah.
How do you gain another person's mental persona? Because multiversal Bruce Waynes are different people. They look different. They act different sometimes.
Maybe
they just
they
have a
have
similar
different-
name and backstory.
Maybe they have different mind palaces.
Yeah,
I
which is
guess.
some Sherlock bullshit.
Yeah. So, Mind Palace is a real thing.
Okay.
I don't know if you know that. But this is some bullshit. So, I've got... You guys heard my problems in the summary. I don't need to beat the hell out of this. There's just a lot of disconnection. Me and Chris both thought the Zernar thing was going to cultivate to something awesome. It's cultivating. It's not doing anything. It's just keeping the run busy. Zdarsky's plans are seemingly falling because I don't see the end here. I don't see the end goal. I don't know where we're going.
I feel like the best Batman runs the last couple of years have kind of had a theme. Scott Snyder's run had something going on.
Break Batman down to nothing? Beat the hell out of him?
Right. I
Peter
feel like
Parker,
Tom
the guy?
King has an overall theme about Batman, what he means, what he's doing.
Scott broke him down.
Yep.
Tom King broke him down. Sid Tinian didn't break him down.
Scott did, but he did it early on. So the run is kind of about...
He did it in the middle of it.
Right, because he dies. Yeah.
No, well, he does it in the middle, and then he does it again.
Mhm.
0 Year, where Batman is back to being Batman. Like, he's got a crossbow. He's driving a motorcycle,
Yeah.
right? And then he does it again when he literally rips Batman from Bruce Wayne.
Right.
So, James Tynion, who's done the most unpopular run of Batman in the past couple of years,
Problem.
didn't really do that. He did the opposite. He built Batman up.
Yeah.
Here's some side characters. Here's some more Gotham. Here's Batman being in his hometown, doing his thing, doing the stuff. And it just wasn't as interesting because it felt like the same old stuff that we'd been told for such a long time. So Chip was ripping Batman apart a little bit.
Right.
Batman is now what Chip wants it to be, I think. But I don't know where it's going now. And that's okay. Ram V was also breaking Batman down, I should also mention.
Right.
Like just ripping him apart and stuff. So, what makes a good Batman book? I don't know. This made it on the show anyway, and I've got a bunch of complaints about it. So, I will say I'm biased.
Well,
to
the other
Batman.
thing for me is Jorge Jimenez is still drawing
The
it,
art,
you know.
all of my notes are on the art.
Yeah.
All of, other than my, cool art, interesting page layouts, panels engaging and filled, cool panel borders. There was a point where it was just like bricks,
Yeah.
falling from one panel to make the borders for the rest of the page. Pretty sweet. You got anything else to add?
To the summary, no.
To anything? You want to comment on the...
I don't know. I would like... I really just want to talk about the last issue, but, this one is fine. It's paying off beats I liked a lot more previously. It's taking them in a way I didn't think they would. I feel like Chip is sometimes a very cerebral writer. I feel like with Daredevil, he was really doing something for the entire run. Even when it gets a little silly with Heaven and Hell, that plays on to Daredevil's pathos. And I feel like that run ended up really being about if a person can change and how people do change and stuff like that. And what is this Batman run about? Batman going crazy? Maybe there's a commentary on what makes Batman. Is it his desire to stop crime? Is it his family? I feel like that's really where we're going, is what makes Batman Batman is his family, his support system, because without them, he's off the deep end. Without Bruce Wayne, he's Zur-En-Arrh, who is this crazy thing. I think that's where we're going, but it's not that apparent. It's not that strong of a theme yet.
No.
I don't think he has... Chip has said a couple of times he only takes a book if he has a story to tell. That's why he's never in Spider-Man. They've offered it to him several times because... he's written a bunch of Spider-Man that people like. He wrote Life Story, and he did that Spectacular run.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have an Amazing Spider-Man story, so he hasn't done it. So why is he writing Batman? I feel like all these issues in, 15, 20 or so issues, I still don't know. And that's not a sign of... a sign of a book that's swimming, it's sinking.
Yeah. I'm hoping this is just connective tissue to something bigger.
Yeah, and
and when I mean bigger, I mean more depth driven.
Right.
I'm tired of reading. If I wanted to read, what's shallow Batman comics, I'll go pick up Joshua Williamson's crap. I don't want to read
Or even
shallow Batman comics.
There's the Batman Adventure comics, which are, I wouldn't call them shallow, but they're
This is the opposite of friggin'. They're just bonkers, fun, all nonsense. Let's just take a bunch of Batman stuff and stir it in a pot and throw it into a comic book kind of stuff.
Right.
So
but that is a nonsense Batman book in a way that's a lot of fun. And
Right.
it's doing it in a way that you would enjoy reading.
Even better, Batman Scooby-Doo mysteries. We could be reviewing Batman Scooby-Doo mysteries right now.
Is that a good book?
No, but this is my point.
Okay.
This is the best Batman book on the wall this week. This is a sad realization.
Okay, yeah. And honestly, I'm still taking this over the last couple of years of Batman, over Williamson, perhaps over Tynion. I like Tom King's book.
I like what Williamson was doing with Batman because of the Abyss character.
Okay.
I thought it was kind of mysterious. It still is mysterious. We still don't know who that person is. We still don't know who Abyss is.
Okay.
And the art was cool.
Right.
I think it was Michael Janine was doing the art around that time period too.
And that other guy, something Jorge, Molina, I think.
Yeah,
he was pretty good.
Fine. Yeah. So I got nothing against that stuff. I feel bad for Tynion too because I really feel like he got Alan Moore with Watchmen. I think he had a story and they were just like, you got to do this differently. And he was like, all right.
I think he wanted to leave to do Substack because they offered him a bunch of money.
He doesn't seem like the money grub type. I understand
No.
you got to pay your bills.
But he also is a big indie guy, and they're giving him the money to just do indie full time. I
Right.
can imagine that's something that's very appealing.
You think somebody like him would just like ruin his Batman run to go and make more money?
I don't think he thought he was ruining it, but he might have unintentionally done so. I don't think a writer like that.
And he's left us with a lot of stuff we are using.
Right, Batman Incorporated dealing
Primarily
with Ghostmaker.
Ghostmaker.
And even in this book, Chip's kind of Batman legacy, as it's probably going to be, is the Knight, and we're playing with a couple of his characters here, that like older
I don't know if it's,
Catwoman-esque
I don't know
character.
if it's his character. I think he pulled those characters from old Batman comics.
He reminded me of them. He's
Right.
paying
Right.
off that book,
And
and
that's-
that book also paid off Ghostmaker.
To make a note, that's how Joker gets Batman trapped in this particular 2-issue story.
Yep.
Got anything else there, Chris?
No.
Cool.
I'm doing fail-safe stuff again.
Transformers number 3.
Cool.
Moving right along to a much better book.
Yeah.
I'm just going to start talking about this cover already. I'm not even going to get into this. This is an intriguing pose. This is a really, really captivating and creative shot for a cover.
Yeah.
Covers are very
They're static.
typical. A lot of the time, they're big characters, big dudes doing big things. You look at this cover first, and you go, "Oh, it's Optimus fighting a dude." Yeah, but there's also 2 other dudes here. Also, this is a homage to the first cover because of the background and the colors on the book.
Right. It's
This-
almost like the next beat.
This is so the first one was Autobots rule. The second one was Decepticons rule. The third cover,
The
both of
conflict.
them.
And that's really, it kind of encapsulates what the issues are happening. It's cool.
My man beat Batman 140 with a cover.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even get in. The cover has more depth than the entirety of the book we just. Okay, anyway, all right, cool. Thanks. D-Dubs, if one for you, I think I'd close shop. All right, so cover's busy, different. We got a real. Oh, I got to summarize. You summarize. I don't know what the heck's going on this time.
So we got the Decepticons need energy, but that's not really what we're doing. We have these human characters. Last issue, the girlfriend kind of our main character. His girlfriend went to her dad's house. He's not there. Instead, our other character's dad is there. I don't remember any of their names.
All right, I'm gonna jump in over here.
You know these names?
I think the summaries also come back to me a little bit.
Okay.
And I'm gonna speed it up a little bit. The humans are aware of the monster Transformers. The Transformers are aware of the humans, and now they're all realizing what's really going on in this tiny little town.
The humans
right?
are militarizing to try and fight
Right,
the Decepticons.
right.
We're cutting off contacts.
Right,
G.I.
right.
Joe or some shit.
Our main characters are Spike's dad, and the girlfriend. The girlfriend meets up with the dad at her dad's house. Her dad's now dead. She doesn't know what to do. She joins up with Spike's dad. They go and fight the Transformers in the middle of the street somewhere.
Right.
The dad comes up with
They
a bunch
think
of...
all the Transformers are the same because like an Autobot shows up and they try and gun it down, and they do it a couple times.
The dad collects an army from the bar of probably older veterans that are in the same boat as Spike's dad.
Yep.
They go outside and they start being attacked by a Decepticon. I forgot what his name is. Time Warp, I think.
Soundwave?
Sound
Oh
Warp?
no, it's one of the
Warp.
Yeah, it's
Or
one
we
of
call 'em
those
Warp
plane guys.
Sure.
Starscream looking dudes.
Warp.
Yeah.
So they're getting attacked, and somebody's about to get like flicked. Like Spike's about to get flicked, or no, because he's with Optimus. Like the little girl's about to get flicked or something, and in comes Optimus, takes him down as a truck. Literally drives the truck into Warp.
It's freaking sweet, and then he transforms out of that
Transforms
human form, does some crazy
Spike gets
wrestling
out of
move.
there. They start fighting and stuff. And I don't remember why, but Spike goes to like run in to like save Optimus somehow.
Yeah, I think his dad goes to shoot him or something.
And,
they all do.
and the army is all shooting at the Transformers. Doesn't matter what Transformers, they don't care. You know, when crossovers happen, heroes meet up, the heroes fight. Eventually, they figure out they're both heroes. They defeat the bad guys.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. Heroes are fighting heroes. They're shooting at these dudes. These are all old veterans with guns in the middle of fucking like Wisconsin, New York, where you can have guns and just run around and shit with them. They're shooting these Transformers. Spike runs out to go and save Optimus, gets shot. Spike's dad stops all the shooting. Everybody stops the shooting. Optimus is getting up and stuff. He's defeated Time Warp by the way, ripping his own arm off that's been destroyed by Time Warp and the humans, and then using it, Wonder Woman Dead Earth style, like a whip, like Superman's skeleton, and destroying Warp with it over and over. DWJ, I'm sorry I'm calling this character Warp. I'm going to put that out there. I could give a shit less about these characters. Beating this dude beating this dude over with his own arm. Okay, he's missing an arm, and he summons an axe out of his other arm and just axes this dude. He's beating him with the thing. It's going crazy. Dude's out. Dude's knocked out. Maybe even killed. I don't know.
Yeah.
He spikes on the ground. Optimus picks him up. It's like, I'm gonna save your son, even though the dad's like, don't touch my kid. But what's he gonna do to a giant robot that's grabbing
kill
him?
his kid?
What are you gonna do? So, and that's where the issue ends. Optimus is now trying to go and save Spike. Did I miss anything?
No.
Okay, cool.
And I think we touched on what makes this comic so appealing. It's the DWJ has a great sense for emotions, and he's got a great sense for action. Those are what you want in a comic.
I don't even need to know the names of the stupid Transformers to enjoy this comic book. One of the things that happens in Batman is they overexpose you to the names of the characters in the book. Miracle Molly, Ghostmaker, Clown Hunter, all of these characters. Whatever, right? We know these guys' names. I've read 3 issues of Transformers. I still have no idea who the bad guys' names are other than Starscream, which I probably know because I watched other Transformers movies.
And these the most iconic one
next
probably,
to Megatron.
Yeah.
And
which that's the other beat we're really paying off. Starscream does not want this Megatron guy out. He's flipping out on people who even mention that he's still around.
To the point of he threatened to kill his engineer, engineer who without the engineer they don't get any energon.
Right.
For mentioning Megatron. So if Optimus is the high guy on the other side, Megatron's the other high guy. Starscream's just trying to make it so he doesn't need to call upon this dude, and it's definitely going to happen eventually.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
This is a DWJ comic. We don't fuck around, all right? We make promises, and then we see those promises through, unlike friggin' everything else I'm reading.
Right.
So, this book had emotion, had depth, had character, had culture, has a comment on Middle America and gun control, and my thoughts on guns in science fiction and fantasy. You have literal giant transforming robots that, had they not had these forms turn into trucks, they turn into something else. They gain these forms once they come to Earth. They're real aliens, as alien as aliens gets, right? They're barely humanoid.
Yeah.
And here you have humans trying to shoot them. Pew pew, pew pew pew.
And all they're really doing is hurting each other.
They're just it's not going anywhere. And they are. He shot his own kid in a way. So this is a comment on why you don't do this kind of stuff. There's so much in this one issue of Transformers.
Not only that, talking about DWJ's art, we always do this.
Oh,
we have to.
Good God.
The choreography is sweet.
Yeah.
He's taken a lot from.
I'm pulling out a
cool.
splash page.
I thought we
right
lost
now.
the phone.
No. We're there's a double played splash. You can't see either of our faces right now.
Sweet. This is a guy who is using all sorts of materials. Even on this cover, these are brush lines, there are micron lines, there are heavy blacks where there needs to be, doesn't need to be, all these different effects and stuff that he is using to make the most interesting looking comic, most classic and modern looking comic. It's almost like reappropriating classic language to make something very new. He's taking a lot of cartooning lessons. His faces look like no one else's faces. When D-Dub starts making a comic, it looks like nothing else on the wall. No one else is doing it. He's just one of the most unique people working in comics right now. And he has a great sense for even writing. Every time you read a D-Dub's comic, he's not cerebral.
No, he can be.
But
he's doing it by accident.
Kind of, because what he's really just doing is he writes good people. D-Dub's... He's such an empathetic person. He has such a good grasp on people's relationships and how they interact with each other.
What it is to be
their
human.
conflict. Yes. And that's what really comes across in all his works. And then again, he's showing you the coolest images you've seen in comics. How many wrestlers have you now seen who are have you seen talk about DWJ's work because it just appeals to that sort of storytelling, which is, I feel inherently more popular right now. People love that very simple, good choreography, good human stories,
not just that,
coming together with memorable characters.
This may sound effing ridiculous, but one of the big reasons people watch wrestling is because it's so filled with the human condition.
Yeah.
All it is people resolving conflict and creating conflict over and over and over again.
In the most visual and creative way.
And so if you can digest that, take it, repurpose it,
you're going to have good comics. You're going to have good storytelling.
Gold. You've got absolute gold. And he's doing it over and over and over again. It's like DWJ found a cheat code to write comics somehow.
And one thing I have found as as I've read more manga and stuff, is I find the choreography in American comics lacking sometimes. They're not great.
He
They're
thinks
doing
about
very similar.
everything. His story happens in a box.
Yes.
And he's in that box trying to move the camera around as the story's happening. As opposed to other people where they move the people around to put in front of the camera.
And I can't believe more of these artists aren't using wrestling moves, just because even though I'm not like a fan of that sort of thing, they're
Visually.
so cinematic.
Visually.
Because they all have these different parts, and they work so well in comics, and there's this anticipation and payoff that comes with every move. Think of how impactful that Bane back crack is. That's basically just a wrestling move, and it works because you get this great panel of Bane holding Batman over his head.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what's happening
Yeah.
next? Like, there's this sense of anticipation. There's great splash page, crack. It's so iconic, and the colors. We're about to talk about that. The way they make everything pop just really helps sell that bombast and interest and action.
Mike Spicer, man. He's killing it. Mike Spicer's killing it. Mike Spicer just colored everything D-Dubs has drawn.
Is he only
since-
second to Bond villain in like
since
pure
he's
skill
trying.
as a colorist?
Well, see, I don't know, because I don't see him on anything else.
Okay.
Bond villain I've seen outside of Dan Mora. And I've gone, this is good outside of Dan
I
Mora.
believe Mike Spicer's the one who colors Stillwater, that Zdarsky book, and I remember the
Yeah.
colors looking very good in that, and
You
the
also-
pencils not being my favorite.
Do you remember Hawkeye Freefall?
That's a great book. Is Mike Spicer on that?
Colored Hawkeye.
Hawkeye Freefall was like the most unexpected comic I've ever read. I read it on a whim one day, and it's just like really good.
Rosenberg?
Yes.
That's why.
Yep.
That Matt Rosenberg.
And whoever that artist is,
God.
Otto Schmidt. I like that guy.
Yeah,
a lot.
we gotta derail just a moment here for Matthew Rosenberg's sake. We did not cover Batman Who Laughs number 12.
Joker.
Yeah. Wow. The joke. The Man Who Stopped Laughing number 12.
He
That book
did a
was
really good
phenomenal. It ended really well. It was such a good book. I'm going to be recommending this book to people for years to come.
Yep.
Hilarious stuff. Matthew Rosenberg, you nailed it. Everybody on that team nailed
Carmine
it.
Dijon and Meniko.
The only reason we didn't review that book is I was probably too busy to do that. Then.
Right. It was either
was
personal
in Mexico
stuff
or
or it was the
something.
only book that week.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes.
But seriously, pick up that book, and when it comes out on trade, pick up that trade.
Yep.
Back to D-Dubs and Mike Spicer, though. Yeah, these guys are killing it. I don't know if there's a better creative team they could have on Transformers in the entire world right now.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's a better team you can have on any comic. I feel like D-Dubs
Yeah.
can find a voice for anything. Even Wonder
Yeah.
Woman, like,
Yeah.
how amazing is it that in like less than 3 years, Wonder Woman has twice surprisingly been one of the best books on the wall. And
Yeah.
it's because of just the creative team they've gotten for it.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
really have been doing a great job with that character.
My
honestly.
problem with Wonder Woman for years is I just didn't know who she was. I
Right.
don't know who this character is. All I knew from her is from Justice League, and she develops herself in Justice League, the animated series, very
Yes.
well, but it's not encouraging enough for me to go, yeah, I want to read a Wonder Woman
And they
comic
kind
now.
of change her a little bit, so she's almost an adolescent in that story too, where she almost has the role of growing up rather than being.
She's newer from Amazon
Yes.
as opposed to being in the world.
Justice League starts and she's coming off of Themyscira as a pseudo 20-year-old. She's finding her place in the world.
Yeah, maybe,
Very much.
Maybe early 30s. But anyway.
Yeah.
So, Wonder Woman, and that's one of the things that D-Dub said why he wanted to write Wonder Woman, too, is he felt like that character didn't have anything.
And same with Tom King.
And so he wanted to give, Tom King wants to get to know Wonder Woman.
Yes.
D-Dubs didn't want to get to know Wonder Woman. D-Dubs wanted to write a Wonder Woman story that he wanted to read because he didn't feel like anybody had done it.
And that's how you should be writing comics.
I agree.
Honestly.
And that's how you should be doing anything. Make material you want to see. Because at the end of the day, if you're successful or unsuccessful, at least you'll have something you're proud of.
Right.
So,
Very
D-Dubs,
personal.
man, D-Dubs, super proud of this book, that being said.
Yeah.
My last note is on Optimus.
Mhm.
Optimus is such an ideal leader, compared to Starscream in contrast.
Right.
He's big, he's dependable, he's the best of us, he understands what it's like to be human already, being on this planet for a day or two.
We didn't talk about issue 2, but I feel like we would have spent a good long time with that deer scene.
And that
Just
was
how
the first 2
powerful-
pages.
Yes.
First 2 pages of that book was incredible.
It's just, I think we should talk about it. You should be reading Transformers anyway. But just to summarize it very briefly, Optimus accidentally kills a deer and then has to...
Simply by walking.
Yes. And then has to contend with not only what it's like to lose life, but also the loss of innocence and how unintentional it can be and how that feels. It's a very human scene.
And how, as a leader and as an alien, you need to understand where your place is at the moment, and you can't overextend yourself, or else you'll destroy the environment
Right.
So he knows he needs to be more careful while he's on this planet, and by that he'll institute that to the rest of his Autobots to also be more careful. So much so in this issue, one of his Autobots goes to try and save Spike's dad as soon as the issue opens.
Right, and he gets
Fails
shot.
gets shot by a shotgun, and not that important in the progression
but
of the
that's
issue.
not the only time he tries to help him.
But no,
he keeps getting back up. It's
Yeah.
very motivational stuff in a way.
And it's because Optimus Prime, and if you hear any of the Autobots in this book speak about Optimus Prime, they speak about him like he's a god, like he's the best of us, like he is the leader, he's the man we all want to be. So if he lays down the law, they're gonna follow it like it's fucking writ.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't even say a god because, for me, that's almost Megatron because he rules by fear, he rules by intimidation. It depends on what religion you follow.
Kind of like a Buddha god.
Right. He's very compassionate. He's like a god of.
He's the leader that inspires you to follow him.
That's
as opposed to makes you fear him, so you follow him.
Yes, and there's almost a sort of inherent thematicness to that. It's still a very child-friendly piece of media, even if this comic specifically isn't.
Yeah, not this
the cartoon at least is, and you have to at least carry along those themes. And there's really good morals and stuff that comes across.
So the art in this book is incredible. I'm sure I've pulled up a couple splash pages by now. There's literally every page. If I had the time in the show, I'd pull up every page. I'd spoil this whole comic for you.
Right.
So,
but since we can't do that, go to your local comic shop.
Go to your local
pick up
comic
Transformers.
shop, buy Transformers, buy Wonder Woman Dead Earth, buy Beta Ray Argent Star, buy Do a Power Bomb, buy Extremity, buy the entire
Murder Falcon.
Let's buy BWJ a second house, alright? Let's put his kids through college, alright? He deserves it, alright? Let's stop buying Batman comics until they decide to be better. Alright? I'm tired of this crap. I need better comics. I think that's a good enough message to leave on.
Yeah.
Alright, Power Card Games and Comics fans, there should be a weekly Shonen Jump up now or soon. Please stay tuned for that. We plan on continuing the weekly Shonen Jumps despite the year ending, the 20th anniversary being technically over.
Yep.
Stay tuned for our next videos of the Weekly Wednesday Warrior. Maybe some Phantom Road next week or something. We'll see.
Sounds good.
Thanks for watching. Have a good one.
You too. Wait.